Welcome to The Good Pod. Every Sunday we delve into crucial Christian topics, led by Dr. Barry Napier. Don't miss out on our thought-provoking discussions. By the way, have you checked out our website? ChristianDoctrine.com. If you want to explore more about Bible Theology Ministries, start by diving into the articles under the ministry category. Our content is all about spreading the truth of Christian doctrine. We want everyone to see the incredible power of God's kingdom, just like it said in Mark 9:1. Join us as we uncover the depth and beauty of these teachings every week.
Did you know that there is such a thing as true religion? A large number of Christians should shake their heads vigorously and refuse to be called religious. But why? You must look a little deeper than popular opinion. In Acts 26, verses 4 and 5, we read this: "My manner of life from my youth, which was at the first among mine own nation at Jerusalem, know all the Jews, which knew me from the beginning, if they would testify that after the most straitest sect of our religion I lived a Pharisee." Now, Paul belonged to the straightest or the most strict of sects within Judaism, Pharisaism. Now, we know that Jesus had choice words to say to the Pharisees, but does that mean religion itself is false or wrong? No, it just means that when mess about with truth, they come up with a very poor replica. It is this replica that is false, not biblical religion itself. Yet many Christians piously cry out that they are not of religion, but of God. They are mistaken, for there is a true form of religion, approved by God. If this were not so, then the words of James 1:17 have no meaning or relevance. It says this: "Pure religion and undefiled before God and the Father is this, to visit the fatherless and widows in their affliction, and to keep himself unspotted from the world." Do you note that? Pure religion. These words show us that there is such a thing as true religion. Sadly, Christians sometimes say ignorant things they don't understand. One of them is that we must not practice religion and that Christianity is something different. But James disagrees with that. Religion, or threskeia, in this text, that is, means true discipline applied to what we believe and do, including worship, derived from threskos, meaning to fear God or to worship him. Wisdom begins with fear of God, and religion is an expression of that fear and praise. True religion is pure, that's katharos, when it is clean, purified by the fire, holy without sin, free from corrupt desires, that's undefiled or amiantos, blameless. Is this not another way of referring to righteousness? Such a righteous state will result in acts of love, such as visiting the orphans and widows when they are distressed. These, of course, are just examples. There are many more that we could follow. And in a continual check on oneself to see that he or she is sinless. You must be unspotted or aspilos. It means to be free of anything that might bring censure upon us, free from vice and sin. Many Christians also hold to the odd idea that we cannot be perfect or sinless. For that, you should read my articles on this false notion. This verse tells us that the opposite can apply: false religion. The verse before this also refers to religion. It says, "If any man among you seem to be religious, and bridleth not his tongue, but deceiveth his own heart, this man's religion is vain." So in this verse we see that some men, or is it most, make a pretense of true religion, as we've just described. Thus they only seem to be religious. Seem, docio, is to have an opinion or to think, to self-assess oneself, to be religious. Oh, how many Christians think in their own minds they are holy, but do they bridle their tongues? To bridle is to keep in check, restrain. It does not mean being silent when there is a need to speak, nor does it mean staying quiet when others are speaking or acting in an unholy way. It means that when we speak out, we must be absolutely certain we are right and that we speak correctly. That also goes for doctrine. But most Christians hold to a few false doctrines, often in the guise of tradition, and so deceive themselves into thinking that what they believe and say is true. In reality, their religion is in vain, useless and worthless. Reference to the Jewish religion by Paul is either to the noun, that's Judaismos, which simply means the Jewish faith and worship, Judaism, or to Threskeia, as we've already mentioned. The latter is found in Acts 26:5 and refers to the rites and ceremonies of the Pharisees within Judaism. What this means is that because the same word is used to describe both Judaistic and Christian faith and practices, then the same meanings apply to both. That is, both Judaism at that time and Christianity could be either pure or defiled. So that means that religion itself is fine. This is supported by the fact that Paul and others attended synagogues and the temple for a while after Christ arose, implying that what they attended was of the pure kind. Then in Acts 13:43 we read this: "Now when the congregation was broken up, many of the Jews and religious proselytes followed Paul and Barnabas, who, speaking to them, persuaded them to continue in the grace of God." Now, proselytes were simply newcomers who were once strangers to truth. It can apply to either Gentiles becoming Christians or Gentiles becoming Jews. They were religious, this time using the word sebo, meaning to revere or to worship. They were devout. Again, Paul uses the words to describe something commendable. Indeed, those who were religious proselytes were commended to continue in the grace of God, thus affirming that religion, or religious, is a true and good word to use, and a good position to be in if it is genuine. There is then such a thing as good religion. It underlines the fact that religion is what we ought to practice in a good sense, always being righteous and true. It is only false or bad religion that attracts denunciation.